Delayed rations reach community in Central. PM steadfast on Porgera Decision. And cricket PNG bats off with cup tourney.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Friday's news. After 2 months following flooding in communities in Doha, Central Province, much needed relief reached households. Over 600 bales of rice, including other food items, were offloaded by the Central Provincial Government and disaster officers, among others. Meanwhile, government officials told communities to follow strict hygiene practices and follow SOE orders to avoid the rise in COVID-19 cases in the city.
A small occasion to embrace the arrival of much-needed relief for locals in Doha. Officers from the Central Provincial Government wasted no time but to distribute rice, flour, oil and other basic needs for the people. A locals say they were left with nothing as floods struck 2 months ago.
Between April and mid-May 2020, heavy rain and flood visited us. The rain and flood washed our gardens, our buildings, left us with nothing. While COVID-19 didn't claim any of us or didn't hurt us in any way.
The food items will be distributed by the ward councillor to households affected during the flood. An officer spoke on behalf of Central Governor Robert Agarobe, apologizing for the delay by relevant authorities, but believes the rations will help.
Added with the rice, we have 400 flour bags, that's 5 kilos, 68 cartons of oil, and then we have about 27,000 of building materials which are yet to be delivered. They will be delivered probably by when they become available.
While much of the focus is on the rations, authorities also highlighted the COVID-19 threat as numbers in NCD climb. Despite no reports of cases in Central, the provincial administration through the coordination team will work closely to ensure people are on alert while living their normal lives.
I, as the provincial coordinator, am responsible for the operations of the COVID team. So I will be coming up with resolutions or remedies on how we will approach this increase. There's already evidence of local transmission. So we need to take proactive actions to ensure this transmission does not come from Mosby into Central Province.
Jagla Pava Jr., National EMTV News.
With the national general elections a year away, imposters are on their toes, luring simple villagers into believing they're executives of certain political parties. This is sadly the case in Maprik district in East Sepik province.
Information from credible sources or institutions is indeed vital for making informed decisions and choices. Lack of it often results in misinformation and, most times, waste of monetary investment. This is the case for some unsuspecting villagers in Maprik district of East Sepik province. Imposters claiming to be certain political party executives are visiting villages promising thousands of kina to be deposited into individuals' account if they register with them for a fee of 50 kina. Agriculture Minister and member for Maprik, John Simon, recently learned of this and during one of his electoral visit advocated to his people in Albinama, in Bumbita Muyan LLG and Quimbu Yamil Tamawi LLG not to listen to anyone claiming to be Pangu party executives.
No guy.
Pangu Party General Secretary Maurice Tovebai shared similar sentiments, adding that the current Pangu executive in East Sepik province is Jack Matthew Akika. Anyone apart from Mr. Akika claiming to be Pangu representatives can be arrested and charged. This warning extends to imposters throughout the country. Meanwhile, Registrar of Political Parties Dr. Alphonse Gelu said the registry has been encouraging parties to enlist members. However, those that register membership must wear proper IDs and prior to registration must inform the people in the district that a registration of membership in the district will take place. The Registry of Political Party has recently launched a mobile phone application called PAMS with the aim of informing Papua New Guineans of the 46 political parties in the country and whom to contact to verify any party information. The PAMS app can be downloaded through the Integrity of Political Parties and Candidates Commission website. Shamin Poreambeb, National EMTV News.
The PNG government is not backing from its decision to seize the special mining lease for Porgera gold mine. Prime Minister James Marape said the decision not to renew the lease was done lawfully.
Seems too good to be.
A statement released by the Prime Minister said it was a decision that was made in full accordance with the laws of the nation, and any claims made by Barrick Gold to suggest otherwise are without merit and have no basis in law. The decision not to renew the SML was made by the government taking into account the recommendations and advice from regulators and experts. Prime Minister James Marape said he did not make the decision alone. It was a decision made by the constitutionally mandated National Executive Council of PNG. As Prime Minister, he said he will not allow Barrick or any person to undermine PNG's sovereignty or national interest. He stressed that the laws are clear, citing Section 145 of the Mining Act 1992, which prescribes that on the expiry of a tenement, all rights conferred or enjoyed under the tenement shall cease from the date of expiry. Simply put, in making the decision not to renew the SML, the tenement expired, and by virtue of that decision, the rights conferred upon Barrick cease and the tenement reverts to the state free of encumbrances or inconveniences. This is consistent with the Porgera Mining Development Contract or MDC that contains clear direction with respect to termination and the rights of the state. The PM said the court has already made a clear ruling with regard to third-party assets, and any action taken by Barrick contrary to that order is quite frankly a breach of our laws. He said rather than seeking to enter into discussions on commercial terms as proposed by the state, Barrick has instead chosen to stop operations, stand down workers and seize essential services to local communities. He said this is not in anyone's interest, least of all the people of Porgera whom Barrick claimed to speak for. He goes on to explain that the fact is the National Court of Papua New Guinea, a court of competent jurisdiction, is already hearing legal proceedings instituted against the state by Barrick. As it stands, the state remains willing to discuss in good faith commercial terms on a without prejudice basis with Barrick, but the state will not discuss decisions it made not to renew the special mining lease. Meantime, Enga Governor Peter Ipatas says there is a range of unresolved issues from environmental to benefits that need to be addressed.
So as the governor of the province, I represent my people. I represent the people of the SML area as well as the general Enga population. And during my watch, the next generation will judge what I, as a governor for the province, did when the SML expired after 30 years. So I'm saying that because it is a depleting resource, it is only fair for the company to realize that they have to part with, the shareholdings that they have enjoyed for a long time, and that's 95%.
While this tug of war continues, employees and the landowners who have been badly affected as well are calling for the mine to reopen immediately. Barrick New Guinea says it remains ready and willing to conduct discussions with the state regarding the matter. Shamin Poreambeb, National EMTV News.
PNG Nurses Association General Secretary Gibson Sione says it is very important to manage well the workforce of the country. This comes after the association has exhausted all attempts of getting the Nurses Award approved by the Department of Personnel Management after a long wait. Mr. Sione says it's not only the nurses, but this also applies to other health workers and public servants as well. There are pending issues like nurses' retrenchment and newly established PHAs around the country. The nurses are ready to stop work and go on strike if DPM does not respond to them by the 1st of August.
Public Health Authority appointment has been questioned by various health workers. DPM has never come down to provide a solid response on the appointment process, which is still pending, yet to be answered. There are Nurses Awards audit that needs to be provided to respective provinces across the country. That has never been provided by DPM. At the same time, we've got this Nurses Award and maybe the other awards still sitting in DPM for review, negotiation and approval. When will DPM Secretary and his team be accountable and responsible to review those awards and facilitate in a timely manner?
An acting National Court judge has questioned lawyers representing the state on the matter involving the death of NCD Zone 3 Commander Andrew Tovere on where police are at with investigations. Acting Judge Paul Tusais told the state lawyer to assist the court with information on whether the two PNGDF personnel charged with willful murder have completed their interview with police or if the police have just left them in custody. The two applicants are James Super and Richard Ule. 2 weeks ago, Criminal Court Judge Justice Mogish disqualified himself from hearing this bail application when it was listed before him because Tovere had worked with Justice Mogish on several court circuits in the Central Province. Mogish says it would be seen as a conflict of interest if he hears the application. The matter was stood down to 1:30 p.m. for a decision. Both accused remain in the custody of the Correctional Service. You're watching National EMTV News. We'll be back with more stories after these messages. Stay with us. Welcome back. Politics has its cutting edges. Southern Highlands Governor William Powie says it's not different with expectations and good governance. Speaking in an interview, Governor Powie highlighted the current trend that is destabilizing the cornerstone of good governance in the public sector. Powie says lawlessness pays a huge price as people depend on the government to build and maintain services.
Speaking in Southern Highlands, Governor Powie expressed the political trend faced under his leadership. He says accountability and good governance is faced with much expectation from people. Governor Powie says every level of government is challenged.
It's a great experience I am seeing because some of these forces and expectations goes beyond my inner beliefs. And it's an easy thing to do, You either fall in and maintain this and become corruptible to provide this to meet the increasing demand, or you value these principles of good governance and provide a leadership in this country. And this is a big force between these cultural forces. One of good governance and one of expectation because the people want it. So it's a big challenge.
For Southern Highlands, Governor Powie says law and order has been an obstacle to service delivery. Powie says the Provincial Assembly has invested heavily to support agencies in the law and justice sector.
We have empowered the police with an allocation of 1 million to get the policing done because they're the frontliners. We provided 3 million for Mendi courthouse to be rebuilt. We are building a state-of-the-art facility to have a resident judge accommodated with almost 4 million in the heart of town. We have allocated 1 million to CIS.
With much focus, some districts in Southern Highlands are progressing with better facilities for people to use. Governor Powie says all sectors in the province are urged to report to the Provincial Assembly. He says the provincial government is opening its hand to development partners to embrace change in the province.
Partners like the UN and other peace missions to synchronize and also to, have a consolidated program that will deal with law and order issues in the Southern Highlands province. This is not just the governor's call, it's a huge call embedded in our cultural and way of life and values we place in leadership and governance and service delivery. So it's a huge call.
Jagla Pava Jr., National EMTV News.
The Central Province Education Board is eyeing development of the sector with renewed commitment. This comes after the swearing-in of its 27 members. Governor Robert Agarobe says education is key and it will take some time to transform the sector to its glory days.
The Provincial Education Board spoke passionately of its intention to see its children are not denied their rights to education. Many who spoke shared the stories of yesteryears when many of the top brains came from its small villages. After all, it was the white man who settled first on its shores and educated its forefathers. That, however, is a challenge today for the province.
Every family had one or two teachers in the family. So in my dad's family, they had two. My dad and his elder brother were teachers. So, and then they went out and taught, outside of the province. My dad was taught in all over Highlands and married my mom, and that's how I came into this world. But then again, to rebuild the province, it takes a bit more than just working hard. And that's why I've driven the Smart Central concept.
Achieving the desired outcome in education isn't an easy one. According to the board, the province has limited high and secondary schools to cater for its increasing population. While infrastructure development is slow, the government wants the province to be smarter in its approach to education.
I dropped out of year 10, but I was fortunate to be given a second chance and ended up technical school. And then I built myself up to where I am today. And the same applies to a lot of our children. They get dropped out of the system and there's really nothing there for them. We have the food there, but how much of food are we promoting? Should we really be sitting in a classroom all day? Or can we be working on a farm, contributing to the family business, contributing to the economy, and then managing our time well, setting time aside to study?
The Provincial Education Board called on all stakeholders to remember its commitment to the development of infrastructure for its schools to make it attractive for the best teachers and an end to nepotism in teacher appointments. Bradley Valenaki, National EMTV News.
Morobe Province is ready to control all internal revenue from various sources with the official launch and presentation of its Content Plan 2020 to 2030 to the Department of Justice and Attorney General in Port Moresby last week. The Content Plan clarifies the avenues of which internal revenue sources could be retained for the province to be more financially secured. The plan is the first of its kind since independence. Morobe Governor Ginson Saunu said the province has a 20% fiscal gap on average annually, despite hosting the biggest industrial hub, inbound sea cargo, and thus remits 3/4 of its internal revenue to the national coffers. Saunu said the Content Plan 2020 to 2030 would enable Morobe to raise revenue internally to finance its development contained in the Morobe Kundu Vision 2048. An insurance company has looked beyond its core business by assisting those in need, a way of giving back to the community. A policeman injured in the line of duty has been the latest recipient of kind assistance from the PNG Health Assurance Company. He received vital specialist surgical operations at a cost of 40,000 kina, all paid for by PHA.
Sergeant Peter Eavo is not insured with the Papua New Guinea Health Assurance Group, nor has any relations to the group. It is a story of pure luck for Christian believers, an act of divine intervention. Peter is a policeman and has been serving the Enga province for 23 years. He was shot in 2018, twice on his right lower limb and twice on his genital area while on duty. The injuries rendered him unfit for work and has been carrying around a urine thrown back while seeking medical help. Specialist surgery at PIH cost 45,000 kina, and the police department, through their insurance company, raised a purchase order to cover 80% of the cost. However, when he took the PO to PIH, they added an extra cost of 20,000 kina, bringing the total cost to 65,000 kina. When Peter returned to the PHQ for further assistance, nothing seemed forthcoming. While on one of his random visits to the police headquarters to again inquire for his bills, he heard of the PNG Health Assurance Group, who coincidentally were at PHQ doing some promotion sessions with the department. He took a leap of faith, entered the boardroom uninvited, made himself comfortable and listened as the meeting progressed.
So that time when I went in, then they asked, is there any other policemen or women who have injured need assistance? Because I was lucky because I was just right inside the conference room, so I put my hands. Oh, it's me. Then they arranged, and then he gave a quotation, the PHA. They said, yes, we will meet that cost. So, from there, within no minute, even a week or weeks, within a week, they paid.
He underwent surgery on the 24th of April this year and received much needed help. He returned for his review and thanked PHA for the assistance with no cost at all to him.
They just came in and then did fast, and then now I'm okay. Now 3 months now.
Deputy CEO of PHA, John Elisa, said these and other kind assistance they have given to people in need is the company's way of reaching the community.
We have helped the children, we have helped, and we will continue to do that as our community outreach going forward. So this is not just where it will end our assistance, but we will, as we go along and we see the need of our people, we will still reach out to them.
PHA started operating formally in 2018 and already has 25,000 groups registered under them, with 40 service providers nationwide. Ruth Rungula, National EMTV News.
And now looking at the NASFund market report, the kina closed unchanged at $0.288 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina is buying $0.2805 $0.3906 Australian dollars, €0.2337 and 29.32 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee and cocoa closed lower, copra closed higher. Crude oil is trading higher, palm oil closed lower and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 159.53 points higher. The ASX 200 is trading at 75.6 points lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 71.2 points lower. And Trukai Sports is next. Kilawani will join us with the details after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Good evening and welcome to Trukai Sports. Cricket PNG has started the Isuzu 50 Over National Cup today. With the Barramundi spreading across 3 teams, the tournament will run until the second weekend of August. Cricket PNG today hosted the first big competition since the lockdown. This is the Isuzu National Cup 2020. The Barramundis are finally playing some cricket. With a certain degree of relief, they are aware of the measures to take considering the current increase in COVID-19 cases in Port Moresby.
Yeah, all the players that are off the field are wearing masks and obviously social distancing. We're making sure that everyone's washing their hands and doing that sort of thing. We've also been around and sanitised all the facilities. So there's a list of things that have come through from Mr. Manning and co, and we're making sure we're doing our best to stick to them as best we can.
The Isuzu National Cup 2020 is the first 50-over competition in the country.
Yeah, this is our new competition, the Isuzu National Cup. We needed to play some 50-over cricket, which wasn't being done here due to the lack of wickets, really. So we've created this to give our guys better preparation for the ODIs when we travel overseas.
The inaugural fixtures today saw Team Black led by Captain Asad Vala and Team Red by Norman Vanwa. With fixtures scheduled for 3 consecutive weekends, the tournament will not have a grand final, but will see the team at the top of the ladder take the national title.
We've split the Barras across the 3 teams, and then the selectors have picked the best players from around the country. So we've got players from outside of POM, and then majority of the players are from the POM cricket. 10 overs in, we had a little delay with one of the players getting them smack in the mouth, which is a bad start, but it's just nice to be playing some cricket, to be honest.
As doubts fill the air on whether the Tokyo 2021 will eventuate with the trajectory of the COVID-19 pandemic, Papua New Guinea Olympics Committee remains steadfast. Tamsin Wadley, chef de mission, says the PNG team can only hope for the best.
As Olympians around the world commiserate on what should have been another glamorous Olympic grandeur, athletes and Olympic committees worldwide who have qualified and those who are daring to achieve their dreams of being an Olympian remain hopeful. As uncertainty mocks the hearts of athletes across the globe, with the COVID-19 pandemic engulfing doubts in whether the Tokyo 2021 should continue or cancelled, Papua New Guinea Olympics Committee remains steadfast.
So the organising committee is still working very, very hard to be able to hold the Games a year from now. Of course, on top of all of that is what situation will the world and Japan be in a year from now? Will international teams be able to travel to Japan? And right now we just don't know the answer to that. So at the moment everything is just planning and preparation for next year, and we just have to hope that the pandemic eases, that there's a vaccine in place so that we can travel in a year. It's a tough day for Team PNG, but for the teams all across the world. Today we were supposed to be walking into the opening ceremony, so it's a day of deep reflection, and for all our athletes, a day to really consider what an extra year of hard work means to them personally.
The COVID-19 has affected the entire world.
Where we stand right now is that the Games have been deferred for a year, and athletes are trying to work out their new training program to be able to qualify. So the existing qualification pathways were all delayed because of the pandemic, and sports are still working out what the new pathway will look like so that athletes can start aiming for those qualification events again.
Only 2 have qualified under the Papua New Guinea banner. They are Rose Numa and brother Teariki Numa, both from the Code of Sailing.
Hi, I'm Teariki.
And hi, I'm Rosalie.
And we're both representing Papua New Guinea at the 2021 Olympics in Tokyo next year.
So during the lockdown period, we took the initiative to clean up our local beach at where we live. So we didn't do it just because we are sailors and we launch off the beach, but we did it as members of the community.
The ocean and the beach is our home, is our playground. But to millions of marine life, it is their home. And I believe it is our responsibility to do all we can to preserve, protect, and safeguard it.
And that ends True Kai Sports. Helen will be back with the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Bye for now.
Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
I'll look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region only. Mostly fine, although partly cloudy in Port Moresby, partly cloudy with a few showers and drizzles, then fine morning in Popondetta.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Moniplus, with you always.
Now that's been the news, sport and weather for Friday 24th of July 2020. From all of us here at MTV, be safe, pleasant viewing, bye for now.